If you've seen the first couple parts of the series, you get the gist. I got invited to show up to the Frontier League's tryout camp and draft. Invited? Challenged, maybe? Threatened is also an option. Sure, whatever. The point is, despite having not played baseball in 20 years, I chose to go ahead and say yes to that.
You chose poorly.
And now, the next thing I know, I'm folding my laundry on camera because, well, it's taken so much time to prepare for this thing and hopefully not embarrass myself in front of managers and players and the camera that things have been busy, okay? I've got a pile of unfolded laundry so big that it's like, hey, sport, you don't gotta call me dad, but I'm gonna think of you as a son. But you need to respect me. I'm not gonna call you dad, pile of laundry, okay? You're not my real dad. I'm doing fine. Really, I am. And now that I said yes to this and I'm in this process, I keep getting the same question. It's not what am I doing to get my arm ready. Oh. Try my best. It's not where am I hitting and is there any possible way to save my swing? No, I have not. And I don't think so. It's not whether I'm lifting weights as consistently as I said I would. Oh, I am not. It's not if I'm doing okay, which you already know that I am. We just went over the fact that I am. I just told you this. You're not even my real dad. I'm not going to call you dad. The question that people keep asking me is,
All right, so why are you doing this?
The short answer is probably that I have trouble saying no when presented with a challenge. The longer answer has probably to do with life is short and I don't really want to spend it being boring. That's not really what people seem to be getting at when they ask, why I'm doing this. They seem to be more asking, what's the goal here? And that's a very fair question, one that I've had to ask myself several times, like when I'm folding my laundry in a video. I know I'm not going to get drafted at the end of this tryout. That's never been the goal. And sure, not embarrassing myself is sort of the goal. In fact, that's the goal I've pointed to since day one of this whole challenge. But does that necessitate 100 days of prep work? Probably not. But as I stood at the batting cages, I found myself between the 65 mile per hour cage and the 70 mile per hour cage, stressing over a 5 mile per hour difference. And I realized that I had stressed over the exact same jump between these exact same batting cages over 20 years ago, as my dad would patiently pass a perfectly good weekend trying to help his son's perpetually broken and mediocre swing. It's starting to occur to me what I think the goal is here. I think it's to just sort of enjoy the ride on it. Starting a new athletic challenge at 32 is pretty rare. It's going to have its ups and downs. But this is a fairly low stakes situation, and I've spent enough years picking myself up off of rugby fields to know I can survive this. What I hope I can do is enjoy this. When I called it a rugby career, I knew at halftime of my last game that was going to be it. It just mentally, I knew. And I knew at the final whistle that was going to be it. But what that allowed me to do was spend the last 40 minutes kind of playing rugby the way I wanted to play it and a way I could feel good about. And I got to, end things with some closure. But I never really got that with baseball. I actually never got it at all with baseball, the sport that I love the most. I didn't know my last game was going to be my last game. Season ended, new season came around, decisions were made, registration forms weren't filled out, and that was the end of that. And that's the same way most careers, if you would call that, end, long before any social media post, written just different enough to not be called out for copying Kobe's Dear Basketball letter. Most of them just sort of end. So while I hope this experience helps me, better understand the struggle of baseball for the teams and the players I cover, which certainly it will, because baseball's really hard, I also hope I can have fun. It occurred to me that I get another opportunity to feel nervous before going up to hit, to wonder, why it is that last throw drifted on me, to take in all the noises and the discussions and the strategy and all that from the other side. For one more time, just be a guy who plays and not a guy who used to play. Which, if we're honest, I barely am. So I guess the big realization is I should just be enjoying whatever this is. Moment to moment. Try not to waste it. And to not embarrass myself, if we're being honest. Oh, God. Oh, no.
Speaking of that, do you want to hear a joke about 3 holes in the ground?
Sure. And then I'm going to let you go because I have to edit an entire video tonight and I'm going to
Hmm.
scream.
Well, well, well.
I'm going to kill him.